Hello. Hello, my friends and beloveds. Ooh, I feel the energy behind this live stream is a big one. Big one. If you are here joining live, I know there's many of you who have responded that you're coming live. I know there's plenty of you watching on the replay too. Welcome, everyone. I'm so glad you're here. My name is Kiki Lovelace, and I am a serial entrepreneur, and I just want to celebrate that yesterday we celebrated our 10-year anniversary at my first business, Interstellar Pilates and Yoga Studio here in Berkeley, California. And I am also an embodied leadership and success mentor for my six-figure plus CEOs and leaders. I teach a lot of leadership skills in my programs, and we work with money, we work with mission, we work with your desires for your private life and your spirituality. We work with the whole of you, and I am so excited to hold the whole of you as we dive into a very specific topic today, which is my behind the scenes reveal of how in my brick and mortar turned click and mortar studio business, we increased our recurring revenue 70% in the last 11 months to over 30K per month in sales that I know are coming in even on the first of the month. I announced this on Monday and we were almost at 30K, and now it's Friday, 5 days later, 4.5 days later, and we're at 31.2. I'm so excited. It's so amazing. And I want you all to know that I've only worked so far in my studio business about an hour and 20 minutes all week long. So I'm really excited to share with you the specific things that we did in my studio business to create these freaking amazing results, even in the midst of a global pandemic that is not over. But I also really want to name and recognize that each and every business owner has their own aligned and very magical path to success. And so I am not about you following this particular recipe, although you might grab a couple ideas from what I'm going to share today and then apply them to your business, put them into play like ASAP, like tomorrow. But the truth is that if there was a one recipe that we could all follow, we would all be bazillionaires. And so obviously that's not the case. And so the way I've broken out the information to share with you today is going to allow you to understand the concept behind the choice that we made so that you can actually apply it to your unique business with your unique set of skills, with the place that you are in your business right now. There's just like so many different factors where you are in the world, what your abilities are, what your resources are. And so I'm hoping that you'll be able to not only understand the specific strategies and mindsets and alignment pieces I'm going to share today, but also really go on an inner journey to discover what's next for you, because it's probably not what is right for me or right for any other business owner. Like you have your own unique way of manifesting, and I'm here to take a stand for that, for your own unique way. I'm just going to keep purring because I'm very excited about what I'm sharing. Hi, Les. Hi, Satya. Courtney, happy anniversary. Thank you. Thank you. Jenny, yay. I'm already purring. I know. I've been purring a lot this morning because I feel very like electric about what I'm going to share with you all today. So before I get into the 4 things that we did to create these insane results, I think they're insane, especially in the middle of, my studio business didn't even reopen until May. Okay. So we were dark in my studio business for, 14 months of the pandemic, which was insane, by the way, totally insane, right? Like I'd built my whole business around this space and around the equipment in this space and the sort of magical sanctuary that this space is. So yeah. Okay. What I want to start with before I get into the 4 things, I had an amazing call with one of my masterminders yesterday, who is an extremely successful businesswoman. She has a Pilates studio. She also has a online coaching course, multi-6-figure coaching course. She is a total freaking badass. And in our conversation yesterday, we unearthed some scarcity and lack belief systems around her studio business in particular. And so it really got me thinking. I gave her some assignments, which I'm actually about to give you right now. And it really got me thinking about just how deep the scarcity and lack mentalities are, in particular in our wellness business, but honestly on the whole fucking planet, you know? It's so deeply interwoven into our relationship with money, our relationship with hard work, our internalized capitalism, the ways that we orient towards our family systems and our family structures. You know, the scarcity and lack stuff is so deep, and it's really poisoning our imagination. And so this is what I'm here for today, really, is yeah, I'm going to share with you these 4 things that we did, but the activation for clearing a layer of your scarcity and lack, if you are holding one today or several, and you're ready to let go of it, it starts now. So I want to invite you to take a breath, settle in, put your feet on the ground or feel your feet in your chair, feel your pelvis, so that you can get this transmission and this clearing, which I'm about to do with you by telling you some stories and giving you some assignments. And you can actually feel it in your cell tissue. This is what it is to be an embodied leader, is to feel in your body the truth of what you're holding in there, and then learn how to change that energy, if that is energy that you want to change and that you're ready to change. So what might your scarcity and lack sound like? There's not enough students. We can never find enough leads. People just won't pay what I want to charge. I have to do 1,020,000 things to even attract like 5 new students per month. The profit margins are so slim in our industry, it's nearly impossible to make a living. If you want to do something meaningful, like mission-based, then you have to be prepared to sacrifice financially. It's like, raise your hand, put it in the comments if you have told yourself any of these things recently. Money isn't important to me anyway. It's fine. Money isn't important anyway. It's more important that I do good work in the world. As if you have to choose. These are just some examples of the lack and scarcity mindsets that I see really poisoning our sacred and divinely assigned missions. Because if you are here on this live stream, watching live or watching on the recording, you have a soul mission here, and you have soul gifts that, because you have a little entrepreneur DNA, can be expressed through your business. And that is fucking amazing that you get to put so much of your life force and energy into expressing your soul gifts. It doesn't serve you at all to be plugged into these scarcity and lack mentalities. And I want to acknowledge that this isn't to say that there aren't real live constructs that are affecting your business right now or may affect it in the future, like a global pandemic, like systemic oppression, racism, you know, oh my God, there's so many things, internalized capitalism, the patriarchy. All these structures are very real. They need our attention every single day in order to break them apart, dismantle them, and build something better. And also, inside your own head, there is a way you can bring your focus to something that would be more beneficial to you, to your soul mission, to the people that you are really here and assigned to serve in this lifetime, in the body that you have, with the mind that you have, with the resource that you have. Let's just take a breath and let that ground. So I want you to know that of course, all of us have our own inner hidden limits. I always have my own inner hidden limits that I'm working with. But I never really had a ton of lack and scarcity around my studio business. And here's why. I want to tell you why. Is because before I became a studio business owner 10 years ago, there was a period of time where myself and another business owner, who has actually since gone on to business in the pandemic, but we considered becoming partners. This was like probably 12 or 13 years ago. I was working for her at her yoga studio. She's a very successful business owner, and she was kind of a badass, you know, and we felt like we had a good rapport. So we got as deep as her showing me her books, and I saw that in her one location, which was like a very small location, tiny little lobby, tiny, maximum like maybe 40 yoga students, and usually there was only like 15 or 10 or 15 or 25, she was making $150,000 a year. So I knew that going into small business ownership, that was entirely possible. And I think because I knew that was entirely possible, it doesn't mean it was easy for me. I mean, I made like 30K my first year, and I was also in, $200,000 or $300,000 worth of debt at that point because of the studio. So it's not like it made it easier. It's just that I had a core belief that this was possible for me. And I'm persistent as a mofo. So I just kept going, really. And I will say that I think because I knew that was possible for me, I was willing to take more risk. I was willing to take on more business loans, to pay for business coaching and mentorship, and for, creating this beautiful space that was the space of my dreams, and for all the equipment and the payroll and all that stuff, the team members that I knew I would need in order to make it sustainable. So that one belief system that like it's possible for me to make 6-figure plus salary changed my actions. And ultimately, it took me a while, I'll tell you, but ultimately it changed the reality, the outcome as well. So I want to give you an exercise right now. And if you don't yet have your notebook and your pen out, I'll just take a breath while you do that, or you can grab your phone and make notes on your phone. Okay. Here's the assignment for any of you who are ready to plug your focus more into what you want instead of plugging your focus into what you think is possible or what you think is available, because that's not that useful to plug your focus into that. Plugging your focus in what you want is much more useful. You'll have a lot more like imaginative solutions when you continue to bring your brain's focus to what you want. So there's a journal exercise, and then additionally, I have like an energetic activity for you to play with in this next week, also in this next lifetime, for the rest of your life. Okay, so this is a journaling exercise I gave to my masterminder yesterday, who was unearthing some of her scarcity and lack stuff, and I give it oftentimes to my masterminders and my high-level private clients. So the exercise is called the unearthing, and you can even write that at the top of a fresh, clean page so that you can come back to this after the live stream. You make 2 columns, and you can label the 2 columns like anything that feels resonant for you. Like I like to label them like shackles, freedom, or lies, truth. Or you could label them scarcity, lack, abundance. So you get to choose the words that feel resonant for you. And on the scarcity, lack, lies, and shackles list, you're going to do a brain dump of all the little thoughts that just creep in there. There's not enough students. Nobody cares what I have to say. There's so much competition. I might as well just freaking go hide under the covers. And of course you'll have a ton of evidence for all these things. So just don't even go with the evidence. Just write out the conclusions. All the lack, scarcity conclusions that you have made and that you've been collecting evidence for quite some time that it's true, right? After you've done that, give yourself a moment to breathe and just get in your body. Because I want to ask you to channel your higher self or your spirit or your soul, who actually knows that in the law of God and of the universe, there are abundant possibilities. There are endless, limitless possibilities for you. And is it true? Is it actually true that no one in our industry makes any money? No. So there's some part of you that knows that there is another reality where there's actually a lot of possibility and there's a lot of abundance. When you start playing by the rules of the universe, of God, of spirit, all of a sudden things get more open for you. And so channeling that higher self or your spirit or your soul, whatever you want to name it, you just look at each thing on your lack list and just speak the opposite. And the opposite isn't something that you could ask someone else and they would say, oh, the opposite of that is that. It's like, it's all subjective. So what feels like the true statement? If that's the lie, then what's the truth? Write it across the aisle from your lack list. So that's the journaling exercise. And honestly, it's really helpful just to do this one piece, is to unearth all the shadow, doubt, lack, and scarcity that is actually deeply affecting your experience, even if it's unconscious right now. And just bringing consciousness to it starts to get it to shift. So that's part one. Part two is the energy practice. And here I'm going to tell you there's 4 parts to it. So one is do the journaling exercise. The second part is in the next days and weeks and years, because it's like you'll always unearth more scarcity and lack. I think that's true. I feel like I really cleared a big piece of scarcity and lack this summer and I haven't had it again, but I'm sure I'll come up with another one at some point. Anyways, so number 2 is when you catch yourself in one of these thoughts and in this, what I call like a scarcity or lack loop in your mind, you stop and you do a state change. Now, you, my friend, have a million ways already that you know how to change your state. Maybe it's the way you stop and breathe, or you put yourself in like a squat position so you can feel your legs and your feet grounded into the earth. Maybe you put on some music. Maybe you go like just stop and take a walk, or even just like get up, make yourself a coffee, like just change your state. Whatever it is that helps you do that, so that you've changed your physiology in some way and you've changed your focus. So you're not plugging yourself for very long into that scarcity and lack focus. You catch it and then you change your state. That's number 2. So number 3 is to, okay, once you've changed your state, focus on what you want. Not what you think is possible, not what you think is available. What is it that you want? Get very clear on it. You know, when we're talking about money, recurring revenue, like having an actual number that feels like puts you in the purr zone, that is very useful. So get as specific as possible at what it is you want. Make sure it's measurable so that you would know when you actually got there. Like saying that you want more money, no. Be specific with what you want and what you're really asking to co-create with God, with Spirit. And then number 4, the last piece, is look for evidence that it's actually possible. So look for, instead of gathering evidence that all your lack conclusions are what is possible, start to look for evidence that it's possible for you. Like for me, I like to look at my sales reports like sort of obsessively, like all day long, looking for evidence that it's working. It's working. Oh my God. We've made so many changes in the pandemic. It's fucking working. Whoa. You know, this is one of the reasons why I constantly have at least one mentor, if not 2 or 3, that I engage to work with, is because I like to be in the energy of someone who is embodying the possibilities of what I want for my life. That, more than anything they tell me to do or change in my business, just being with a human who has done the impossible thing and believes in my impossible dreams is like totally worth, you know, the 90K investments that I've made in this calendar year in business mentorship. It's totally worth it. So look for evidence that it's possible. All right. That's your homework. I can't wait to hear. Come back on this live stream, add your comments after you've done played with this for a few days, because I cannot wait to hear how this starts to shift things for you. All right, so here's how we created 30K plus months in recurring revenue. And I want to say that this isn't our only revenue stream. We actually have developed a huge pay in full revenue stream during the pandemic. We have just like one-offs that we, you know, and some like intro offers. And so we actually have lots of different revenue streams, but this one revenue stream I've been like hyper focused on. I'm going to tell you how we did it. So the first thing you need to understand is like the state of my business today. So as I mentioned earlier in the live stream, we only reopened here in Berkeley, California in May. So we weren't open for 14 months. We were purely online. During that time, most of my private session revenue went by the wayside. Of course, all of my small group like reformer class revenue went away overnight in March 2020. Before the pandemic, we also had a pretty significant like rental revenue stream. Some of my teachers, if they brought in their own students from their own marketing efforts, they would just pay us a small rental. And I had some other renters in these different offices. So really like what we were living on during the pandemic, besides PPP money, which was very helpful, by the way, was our online classes. And so in May, we reopened 3 days a week. Now we're open like 3.5 days a week, but we're not even open 7 days here in the brick and mortar. I want you to know that. In terms of how many classes we have, I counted them up for you. So in our online, we still have a pretty strong online revenue stream. Like we make about 12K of the 30, going on 32K is from our unlimited, not necessarily only unlimited, but from our Pilates mat and yoga that's online. But all the rest of it is from our now in-person offers. And what else do I want you to know? The other thing I want you to know, because I had a story when I was probably in your stage of like, oh, if I want to scale my business, I'm going to have to buckle down and work harder. So I just want you to know, I don't work hard in my studio business. It has not been hard work per se to create these results in the last 11 months. Like, not traditional hard work. Like I've worked so far this week a little more than an hour, including checking all my email. I have about 2.5 hours of meetings today, but that's it. So I work about maybe 3 or 4 hours a week in my studio business. That's it. And so I'm here to take a stand for you and for any stories you have that in order for you to have these kinds of results, you have to work harder. That's not true. I am going to show you exactly what you could do to do this efficiently, without over-efforting, and with a sense of joy and possibility, instead of like, oh my God, this is going to be so hard. So around this time, actually, like November of last year, me and my team sort of like admitted to ourselves that we were just done with the fucking 10 packs. Like every time I would open up the sales reports, I'd be like, why are people buying drop-ins and 10 packs? It's so annoying. I just want membership revenue. And we started talking about it amongst ourselves, and we were scared to do it, but we were like, what if we just took away the 10 packs? We actually did not take away the drop-ins just in case somebody had never come and they weren't quite ready to commit. So we still get on occasion those, but we took away the drop-ins in January. And and so this was the first piece, is like, we decided like the pandemic had sort of changed everything, and we were like, fuck it. Let's just do this business the way we want to do it, instead of continuing to do this thing because everyone else has always done it, because our customers are really used to it. Fuck it. And this might not work for everyone. All our customers, they might not be into the different membership tiers that we have, but let's just fucking do what we want to do. And I think the pandemic made me a little bolder in that way, and just like, we have to rebuild anyway. Let's just rebuild it the way we want to do it. So this was the first step that I want to pull out for you, is we decided this is what we're going to do, is auto pay revenues. And another piece of the decision is we eliminated pretty much all other options. We took away the 10 pack, even though I knew that prior to the pandemic, almost all of our private session revenue was like 40% of our full revenue, and it was almost all 10 pack sales. So I want you to know that we made this decision and we eliminated all other options, not because we knew it was going to work. It was still terrifying. We still had stories of like, oh my God, I can't believe we're doing this, but we did it because we were like, this is what we want. So that's number one. If you really truly want something, you have to decide this is how it's going to be now, in spite of your fears and self-doubt. Number two, I focused on this number of 30K pretty much every single day since January, because around January, so then we made the decision, and then I started going, what's the number that we want? And I started focusing on this 30K number. So every single day since January for 11 months, I have been pulling this number into my prayers, as I like to do in the morning, thinking about it throughout the day whenever I look at my sales reports. I shared it with my leadership team. It's not like I just kept it to myself. I started speaking it out loud, shared it with the leadership team, and we reshaped our front door offers so that all roads lead to membership. So let me tell you specifically what we did, and then I can pull out the concept for you. So specifically, we changed all of our intro offers for our generally we have 3 revenue streams at my studio. We have the larger group classes, which are the lowest price point. And then we have the small group classes, which are Pilates Reformer and now also in-person yoga, which are now limited to 8 people. So we call them small group. We charge a little more for them in person. And then we have our private session revenue stream. And for each of these, we reshaped our front door offers so that, for example, we have the first month a little less expensive. This is very typical. It's like the initial month, introductory month is a little less expensive, but it's a contract item now that rolls into membership. We had never done that before January of this year. We also developed another private session front door offer. And again, this is completely designed. It's just a one-off. It's a 75-minute Pilates assessment, but it's completely designed to get somebody into membership. And our conversion on it is 40 or 50% of the people who take it literally walk to the front desk and become a member later after their first session. So step 2 is to focus on your goal and commit. And I have found that in my own business, sometimes I'll focus and I'll think I'm committed, but then I make these funny decisions that aren't actually in alignment with the commitment. And so I get inconsistent results. So that's not just something it's just something to be aware of is if you're not getting consistent results, recognize, are you making decisions that don't actually communicate to the universe that you're committed, right? You need to really not only focus, but also make all of your actions compatible with your goal, if that makes sense. Yeah, the other ways that we focused and committed to this is in May, when we were finally able to reopen, we went full force into an almost singular focus in our marketing, because we don't do any ads for my studio business, but in our organic marketing, our email marketing, and our social media, we just went full force into our highest value membership. So really, we haven't really been talking a lot at all about our unlimited Pilates mat and our yoga. We also have a pay what you can membership. We haven't really talked about that much since May. We've been super focused in our marketing on the private session and the small group revenue, because those are our highest value revenue streams. And we knew we had to drive the bottom, the top line revenue way up in order to get back to pre-COVID times, to be able to pay our team well, give everybody raises, etc. Yes, focus and commit. Step 3 is about consistency. So when we reopened in May, it was a little bit dead at first. I was a little spooked because, obviously my payroll started to go up as I paid front desk people to be here, etc. But we didn't really have a ton of people coming into, the Pilates Reformer classes. The privates were sort of slow. And we gained a little bit of traction. I think we got up to 21, 22K in recurring revenue, which was actually, by the way, our pre-pandemic revenue. That was the most I had really ever made in recurring revenue, because I told you I used to sell a lot of 10 packs too, and teacher training revenues and stuff. So we got to 21 or 22K around June, and it was it didn't move. It just wouldn't move for 4 months or so. Around August, I started talking to my leadership team about it, my director of marketing and my operations manager, because I was God, it's not moving. Actually, our sales were growing during that time, but that recurring revenue had not shifted. It just seemed like we were at a stalemate. We stayed consistent, even though it didn't seem like anything was happening. And I really want to pull this out for you because a lot of us give up on our goal way too early. And honestly, for me, waiting only 4 months to get the results that I got is not that long. I have learned as an entrepreneur that sometimes it takes a lot more than 4 months. You just have to be consistent. Keep showing up, keep holding the flame for your desire, for your dream, for your goal. Stay consistent, even though it seems like nothing is happening. That's not true. Underground, it's kind of like the seeds underground before they sprout forth. It's like there's a lot happening underground that you can't see, but it's happening. So we stayed consistent, and that is step 3. Okay, step 4 is something you probably have never thought of, and I'm so excited to share it with you. So as we were, I realized at this point, 4 months, we were just at the same place, really, in terms of our recurring revenue. And I started kind of getting curious about that. I was like, our strategies are on point. I have crazy abundance mindset. I cleared a huge piece of lack in June or July related to, I won't even go in there. But anyways, I cleared a huge piece of lack. So I was like, my mindset is right on. My belief systems are 100% here. The strategies are on point. What is going on? So I started getting curious about that. And I remember at one point, I think in early August, I came to a leadership team meeting and I said, y'all, I'm just curious, I'm trying to figure out if there's some misalignment here. Are either of you having any lack or scarcity or resistance to growth? I feel like I don't think I am, but I'm curious if any of you are. I start to get curious when the mindsets and belief systems are on point, when the strategy feels really good and solid and consistent. I start to get curious about alignment. Is something misaligned? Sometimes in the past, I've totally self-sabotaged, like a teacher training launch, because I actually didn't really want to show up for 10 weekends in a row and be away from my family. So I would have crappy sales, but it was totally because I was misaligned with the delivery of the offer and how much I had to show up. And so I started learning this a couple years ago where honestly, even more than a couple years ago, I started playing around with what if I just only made a business that I felt 100% a fuck yes to, And then I started to realize, I need to train my team to think this way too. Because if any of them are not a fuck yes to their schedule, to their pay rate, to what their duties are, then it starts to sort of sludge up our progress and, quite frankly, our sales. So I asked this of my leadership team, and they were like, no, I don't know. And one of them said, well, maybe I have a little bit of resistance. I just feel like I need a little more support. I need an assistant manager. And we're like, okay, let's call that in. That was helpful to unearth it. One of our core people needs a little support. So that was helpful. A couple weeks later, our membership manager, who is a very beloved team member and also yoga teacher, came to us and said, I don't really want to do the membership management job anymore. It's just not working for me. I was like, yes, amazing. Thank you for telling us that. She gave us a little bit of notice. We redistributed her job to someone else. And literally that was the piece. That was the misalignment. It's she just wasn't no longer aligned with the job. It just wasn't right. And then the membership sales started shifting. It was almost immediate. It was extremely palpable. So this piece, it might kind of blow your mind that maybe it's not a lead generation problem for you. Maybe it's not because you're doing any, there's not some strategy that you just haven't learned yet and you just have to take 1,050,000 strategy courses, business courses to figure out the next complicated funnel. Maybe it's not that. Maybe it's just that you or your team or your systems or your pricing is misaligned, is not actually for you a hell's yes, let's go. Let's do this. Yeah, and this just side note around this is that, for me, I had to start with myself and get really real about what was aligned for me and not aligned for me and how can I serve in my studio business and my coaching business in a way that's aligned for me. But I, years ago, started training my team at the studio to think like this. So most of them know to raise their hand if something feels misaligned. And we also ask them a lot of questions like, how is it going? Is there any part of your job that you don't really like doing? So we have a culture, I call it alignment-based culture. And so it's actually much easier now because my team members will raise their hand and go, you know what, this one thing is like, I'm making it really hard and I need some help here. Or I just don't really honestly want to do it anymore. Can we put this on someone else's plate? And it's very helpful actually to have created this culture of normalizing, oh, this thing doesn't really work for me. I'm not very good at this. It takes me forever to do it, for example. Oh my gosh, can you please write in the comments if like your brain just went, oh, like here's what needs to shift next. Beloveds, I have just opened 2 last spots, so a total of 3 spots in my Prepare to Scale 2-week private mentorship for the entire rest of the year. I have 3 spots only. This is for you if you are at the moment where you need the plan. You need to understand in totality the belief systems, the strategies, the alignment, the misalignments that need to shift in order for you to scale, not by working harder, not by, throwing a ton of money at Facebook ads or Instagram ads or Google ads, but to do this in a way that is without burnout, without struggle. It's with a sense of joy and possibility and abundance and a heck yes. And so this Prepare to Scale 2-week mentorship, we will identify exactly what is aligned for you and what those next steps are. And during the 2 weeks, I'll be able to spot you on the first few steps of implementation. You'll see that like when you start making moves towards your dreams, towards your goals, that's when your shadow comes up. That's when your self-doubt comes up. You have a stress response, like a biological stress response in response to up-leveling. And so I will be able to spot you in your biological response, which will tell you, you can't, oh my God, what if it doesn't work? All the things, your doubt, your shadow, your fear, it's going to come up and I'll be able to spot you with that and help you get in momentum towards whatever the soul aligned goal is for your next up level in yourself, in your business, in your soul mission. I find this is also good for people who tend to feel like they need the whole plan before they take action, because on day 1, we're going to remove that because it's not true. You'll never know the whole plan. All you'll ever know is the first step, maybe the first 2 or 3 steps. And then it's just a matter of, in good faith, taking the step. Trusting your intuition, trusting that your goal and your vision is entirely within your reach. Of course it is. You are an impossible goal achiever. Like when has that ever stopped you? And it's a matter of trusting yourself, backing yourself, taking imperfect action, and knowing that if you just keep going, you're inevitably going to get there. My team and I are going to be reviewing applications this weekend. And so if you are feeling called for this level of support, the current investment level, which I'm sure I'm about to up, is $2,555. You will have such momentum from this one investment. I cannot wait to see your application. So if this feels aligned for you, message me today. I will send you the link to apply and we can suss out if this really is the right thing for you, because I only invite people to work with me who I 100% know that I can help. And if I feel like, oh, you're not quite at the stage that I can help you with, you should go work with this person, or you should go take this course, or you should go do this in your business and then come back to me, I will 100% tell you. I love you so much. I believe in your dreams for our people and for our planet 1,000%. Sometimes probably even more than you do. And I cannot wait to support you. Have an awesome day, everybody. Take care.